Several months later, I went back to headquarters to report to the big chiefs. With every record I played, I got the same reaction. Not interested. I could see that they hadn't the slightest clue as to how to market this music. They just didn't get it.
Walking with my baby, she got great big feet. She's long, lean, and lank, and ain't had nothing to eat. But she's my baby, and I love her just the same. Crazy about that woman, 'cause Caledonia is her name. Caledonia! Caledonia! What make your big head so hard? Ma, I love you just the same. I'll always love you, baby, 'cause Caledonia is your name.
Even Louis Jordan, the whitest of black performers, a real clown, didn't appeal to him. He was way too profane. The context of his songs, way too shocking.
Wham, Sam, dig them gams, mellow like corn and country ham, slender and round and built from the ground. Wham, Sam, dig them gams. Wham, Sam, it ain't no flam. The chick's got props like she's from Bam, mellow and fine and so divine. Wham, Sam, dig them gams. Now I've been around and seen some legs, skinny one, fat one, some fine pigs. I like a chick that's built like her, soft and mellow like fine fox fur. Wham, Sam, dig them gams. Out of this world like berry jam, cool as a fool who's on the lamb. Wham, Sam, dig them gams.
The interviews with the bosses had gotten me down somewhat, as if my work didn't count for much. I felt that the company was being run by a pack of half-deaf dinosaurs on their last legs. It was already 1953 and the rock and roll phenomena had begun to grow. I decided to take action. That was when I met Wynonie Harris. Wynonie Harris was a blues shouter from Omaha. He was not only the most talented singer I'd ever heard, but he had another important asset. He was a professional dancer. And thanks to that, he had an amazing sense of the stage and he dominated it when performing. And most of all, he was a knockout. He had these rare blue eyes and a charming look on his face. He used to drive the ladies crazy. His music was the greatest. You just had to get up and dance.
Now just because you're pretty and you think you're mighty wise, you tell me that you love me, then you roll those big brown eyes. When I saw you last week, your eyes were turning black. Go find the guy that beat you up, ask him to take you back. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I can tell you've been out on a spree. It's plain that you're lying when you say that you've been crying. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Now I
managed to convince him to record one of his songs for Capitol. We cut a good deal with King Records, a small outfit that had Wynonie under contract. In the studio, it all worked out fine. Wynonie was quite a wild card, and we had to do the sessions really early in order to have him sober on the set. The staff at Capitol were not used to this kind of setup. They had never recorded R&B before, but pretty soon they seemed to get into it, so I took that as a good sign. We cut the record, we put it on the waves, and then it started to spread to all the clubs and jukeboxes in L.A. We didn't exactly take California by storm, but the tune was a hit on the dance floors, whatever the race, class, or religion. We booked 10 straight nights at the Crowns on Hollywood Boulevard as the main feature, where LA's finest could have a glimpse of the man. Just to set the record straight, I have to admit that I wasn't the only one to get the power of this music. Alan Freed was a DJ from Cleveland. More than anyone, he was in the know. He was the man who back in 1951 gave rhythm and blues a brand new name, rock and roll. And what Alan figured out before everyone else, me included, was that this music was made for the young. They were the ones the music industry had long forgotten about, focusing on their parents. And now those kids were demanding to hear what they liked. Some of the rock and roll bands got the message, and they shaped their tunes and lyrics for the teenagers' taste. So through compromises like that, the rock and roll spirit was formed.
You've become my heart disease. Listen to me, baby, please. You got me just mad for you. Please don't drive me crazy too. Hey now, Miss Fanny. Hey now, please be mine. Let's go out and have a ball. I love you, baby, that ain't all. I don't care what your mama say. We'll have a good time anyway. Hey now, Miss Fanny. Hey now, please be mine. That thing, hey now, Miss Fanny, hey now, please be mine.
My honeymoon with Winoni was coming to an end. The first 5 gigs turned out just fine, but it was all the rest that didn't go so smoothly. He was wild, unpredictable, and he'd do the dumbest things just because he felt like it. Today, we would call that rock star attitude, but he wasn't having any of that. Since 1948, they'd called him Mr. Blues, and you can bet it was going to stay that way. I tried to drag him to radio shows, but he couldn't care less for my media plan or my daydreams of glory. He didn't have any respect for me, and I felt him slipping through my fingers. Then one night after a record signing in a department store before the night's gig, he split town and disappeared. The next few days were really hard. I had no idea where he was. Then I found out he went back to Omaha to go to some party. I soon understood that he'd never come back. He'd earned enough money to buy a second Cadillac, his life's ambition. Back with Capitol Records, the shit had hit the fan and I was in trouble. I gave them the master tapes. Like everything else I'd given them, they didn't like it and withdrew the record from circulation. They had something else in mind. Those geniuses took Perry Como and had him record a rock and roll song. So I took a long holiday. They owed it to me. I went back to Jackson. I was happy to be home. Nothing had changed there, and for the first time in a while, I was not thinking about rock and roll.